It was an interesting time in America. The Cold War was over.
I will faithfully execute the...
We had our first baby boomer president in Bill Clinton.
We had the first attack on the World Trade Tower. Ruby Ridge had just happened.
And at Ruby Ridge, a man who had wanted to withdraw from the governance of the United States had holed himself on that mountain, and the government had attacked him, killing his wife, his son.
After an 11-day standoff, Weaver and Harris surrendered.
But it was the first example of the anti-government fervor that was out there that could result in disaster because neither side understood each other.
We don't need the system. We can live without it.
Stand up for yourself!
I don't think anybody knew the degree of anarchy that was lurking in our heartlands, the distrust for the government.
God can't manifest His love in this world of darkness. You got to come up there to find out about God. Come up here.
Mount Carmel was very remote from Waco. It was important for David Koresh to isolate the group from the world because the world is an influence that is constantly pulling people away and distracting you from the message.
Koresh called his compound the Ranch Apocalypse.
It was a 77-acre compound.
The men lived on the ground floor, the women on the second floor, with David Koresh's bedroom up there too. There was a gymnasium, there was a chapel, a large kitchen, and there was a shelter, a buried school bus where they could go to in an emergency.
There was an extremely strong sense of family within that group, and they were that family, and anybody else was not. Anybody else, by their definition, by their verbiage, was Babylon, evil.
My mom and I were best friends. My mother was dedicated to every aspect of her life. She was a favorite teacher, an athlete, just a good, she did good deeds when no one was looking.
Sherry Jewell was from Hawaii, and she took her very young daughter to Mount Carmel to live with the Branch Davidians and David Koresh. She became his 20th wife.
Sherry was an excellent mother. She loved Kiri. I don't understand some of the things that Sherry did to our daughter under the influence of David Koresh.
David Koresh became the most important thing in her life. Everything that she did changed to meet his needs. He was very vulgar and very descriptive, and he talked about sex very explicitly.
He taught things like the Sabbath day was the day for procreation.
The prophets were all given a vision of our time, brethren. Do you understand that?
He did a lot of things that twisted or just drew that religious belief in a totally different direction.
He used his doctrine to fill the holes in himself. He was always talking about the things that he feared from society, when it comes to his looks, his skinny legs, his big nose, the fact that he couldn't get women. So in order to try to fill those gaps in his life, he created this new prophecy that would do that.
David Koresh called himself the sinful Messiah.
Vernon believed that a sinless Messiah could not relate to man. He could not understand why man sinned. That's why God sent a sinful Messiah. Somebody who could understand why people drink, why people smoke, why people have sex, why they commit adultery.
He revealed to us one day that all of the women were going to be his wives if he wanted them. And I was one of his favorite people, so I just knew that I was going to be one of his wives.
He presented celibacy to the single men, single women to begin with.
And the line that was crossed was basically that the marriages are dissolved, and David Koresh is going to have all the women sexually.
Most people probably were shocked when they first heard it, because it didn't come all at once.
He wouldn't tell them everything at once, because then you would be like, you're nuts, I'm not giving up my wife.
God told him who to take and who not to take.
I was his wife. He explained it this way, is God would tell him which one. So God would be choosing them. So in essence, God chose me. That's how each woman thought, is I was chosen this time.
My sister became one of David Koresh's wives. She was one of the early ones.
It was a big secret. I mean, I don't think he thought everybody could handle it. I think he thought a lot of people would leave if they found out he was sleeping with these girls.
I guess she was 17, something like that.
There were 5 of us to begin with. They were girls. We always thought he was going to go to jail because of it, you know, but for statutory rape, I guess.
He called it the House of David. So yeah, to be a member of the House of David was a privilege.
Being in the House of David, you were sleeping with him. Not all the time, but just whenever he wanted. Simple as that.
I know a lot of people think, well, God, why would you want to marry him and share him with everybody? But it wasn't like that, you know. It wasn't like because, oh, we fell in love and then we got married. It was for a purpose. He said he was God and that he carried God's seed and you could have God's child. And then in the end, you kind of fall in love with him because he was very lovable at times. At times.
Many of his brides were very young, 14, 15, 16 years of age.
I was very conscious of sexuality at a very early age.
Carrie Jewel was being groomed to be his wife.
He would take me on the back of his motorcycle and go up to the mountains. So I kind of knew that I was special because he didn't take just anyone. He wasn't even taking adults on these trips, so why was he taking me?
She was very young. I think she was 11 at the time.
She let it come out that her mom had taken her to a hotel room and that David Koresh was there waiting.
And he was laying on the bed and he said, "Come over here."
He had made her take off her clothes and get into bed. And I don't think I asked her for a lot more details at that point because I knew enough.
I think that at a very early age, I gained the ability to almost exit my body and just not be there. A wall would just come up instantly and I would be gone.
This is just disgusting. It's sick and it's perverted, and yeah, that's one of the things about David Koresh that probably bothers me the most. And my own participation, and I'm ashamed of it. I am. I wish I would have done something. I don't know what I would have done, but I wish I would have done something.
How could Sherry allow that? That was part of what her job was. Not only did she give of herself, she gave everything she had to give, including her daughter. And she expected the same of Kiri.
Well, there came a time when I was no longer the most important thing in her life, and David Koresh was. And it wasn't even her own salvation that was important. It was just doing what he said was the most important thing. She listened to the wrong guy. She went full speed ahead in the wrong direction.